Hey everybody, John Shell here, Cruise Addicts, and first, happy 2023. Wow, we've actually went into a new year. Time is flying by when we're all cruising and traveling, and it's so great that we're actually still traveling. It's very exciting, and we've got Michael Consoli here today. He's going to join us in a second and tell us about how to save money and what is in store for 2023 for Viking cruisers. It's very, very exciting, and like I said, we're very excited to start off the new year. And we're going to teach you to save some money and also tell you about some of the things Viking is offering that you might not be aware of. So we'll get Michael in here. So, but thank you all for joining us. Please leave a comment below. Please check in. Let us know where you're visiting from. Let us know what cruises you have planned. And of course, if we can help you in any which way, we'd be happy to help you and hopefully get your business as well. So we're going to get Michael in here. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Good, John. How are you?
And Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
It's been a while since we've done a live stream, and it's just, I feel a little rusty sometimes, I tell you, but I'm excited about the new year. I'm excited about what Viking has offered for cruisers, and I know we're going to get some first information because you've been very busy learning things, and you're going to share it with our audience here, so we're excited to look for it. What can you share with us today?
Well, I mean, aside from the fact that Viking is celebrating their 25th anniversary with, an amazing sale. Right. I'm sure everybody has seen that on the rivers for 2023, there are select dates with free airfare and $25 per person deposit. So and the $25 per person deposit, which is usually $500 per person, is really good for any sailing that is less than 35 days. So anything that's not considered a grand voyage or a world cruise can be booked with just the $25 per person deposit, which is just amazing.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often, does it?
No, I mean, they actually tested it, I think, about sometime in October, I think, of last year. And then I think they had such a good response that they decided to do it for their 25th anniversary and, let people, select a cruise and hold it with just $50, for the cabin, $25 per person, which is nothing. I was telling somebody the other day that I had to we're going to New York this weekend to do a travel show, and I had to make a reservation at a restaurant, and I had to give a $25 deposit per person just for the reservation. So you can hold your cruise with Viking for about the same as it costs to hold a reservation for dinner in New York City.
I thought of a question because, I think when you can reserve a cruise, it's just like, it kind of gives you power, you know what I mean? So, I just love the feeling of having something on the books, so to speak. So how early can I book like a cruise in the future today for $25?
Yes. So Viking just came out with their 2025 ocean voyages. So a lot of the new itineraries for 2025 are out. And so you can book that far out. And,
wow.
I think that, the Viking guest is a lot more committed, regardless of the amount of the deposit, simply because the Viking does require, as we've talked about many times, full payment, way earlier than other vendors. But that's because their ships tend to fill up fast, and, they want to know that guests are committed.
So the deposit goes down today. So I'm your customer. I want to book a cruise for 2025. I put a deposit down. When is full payment due?
So full payment is going to be due based on the promotional date that's listed on the website. I think for 2023 departures right now, it's either February 28th or March 31st. And for 2024, I believe it's July 31st. And for 2025, it's December 31st of 2024. So there are some exceptions to that. And if people contact us, we can walk them through how to get how to push that a little bit further, or, how that will work as far as getting a little bit later deposit. But that's typically how the deposits work. So Viking usually gets their money for final payment a year to 18 months in advance.
as a cruiser, I just love the idea of, okay, maybe something special is happening in 2025 in my life. And for $25, I can save probably the best cabin. I've got choices on cruises that people don't even know are available. And I'm able to go to, Viking Mississippi comes to mind, Antarctica comes to mind, on ships and destinations that really are really difficult to get on board. You've been telling me, on these live streams how difficult and things are selling out. So all of a sudden now for $25, I can jump ahead a year or two and not have to put full payment down until, well in advance, but still lock in my cabin and my location on the ship.
Yeah, and I mean, I have to tell you, when you combine it with some of the specials that they have this month, and I always do this when we're doing one of these live streams. It's January of 23, by the way, so it's January 22nd of 23. So, a lot of these specials end on the 31st, but when you combine the $25 deposit with some of the specials that we have some, great offers on Ocean, some that include gratuities and Silver Spirits beverage packages. We have some that have a savings on Antarctica of $400 off the rates that are on the website, maybe some free air for the first sailings of this year through March. If anybody wants a last minute Antarctica sailing, there's some free air offers. I mean, there's a lot of aggressive offers, because it's interesting. I think that Viking operates different than other lines, right? They have inventory that sells very quickly. And then what they have left, they want to move through and sell so that they can start focusing on 2024. I think that's where we are with 2023 with them. They're trying to sell what's left. If you look at, for instance, at some of the river sailings for May, June, July, they are sold out. Like standard cabins are left. There's some great opportunities still left in September and October. Many times we've talked about on the river, May and September are the best times to go, in my opinion. So if you can grab a date in September or even early October, you're going to have an outstanding experience. So,
and you said this promotion, this $25 promotion is just to the end of the month?
So currently it's till the end of the month. We don't know if they're going to extend it. There are, of course they have the option of extending it, but we don't know if they will. So it just depends. They have their own marketing calendar and what they want to do. And unfortunately, we don't know sometimes until the day that the calendar changes what they're going to do. So,
okay. So, and I've got to ask, because I know someone's going to ask in the group, is there anything for single cruisers, solo cruisers, single supplement, anything?
So it's so funny. I've had a lot of questions about that this week. We get a lot of questions about single travelers anyway, but this week in particular, we've had a lot of guests ask about the single supplement, say, and the specials. There are some specials when combined with what I was talking about, the reduced cruise fares on certain sailings. There are some specials where the single supplement is only 75% instead of 100. And when you take that with the savings and the upgrade, it's actually, I compared one the other day for somebody. It was a 12-day cruise we were able to book as a single for $48.90 a person as a single guest. That's really a great deal. So, but it is a close-in sailing. Some of them are on close-in sailing. So, again, these are specials that you may not see on the cruise line's website, but that you need to, work with a qualified travel professional like myself to help you find those deals.
And I'm going to put your information down at the bottom here. If you're new to watching this, you just happen to bump into this, we're on YouTube, Facebook, and also our Viking group. Michael Consoli is the top global cruiser for Viking. That means he sails more Viking cruises than anyone in the entire world. And how many years has it been now? I'm losing track because,
I think it's 8 or 9. I'm not really sure.
Someone would be thrilled to get it once, but Michael's done it 8 or 9 times here. It's just incredible. And we're really, really blessed to have him here and be able to work with him on this. So this is why you work with a travel agent. They don't charge a fee or anything like that. They actually get paid for the commission from the cruise line. There's no nickel and diming on as a customer, but you get the knowledge, and you also get, like you said, there's specials and deals that are coming through email, times where the general public, it's not even on the website. And that's just isn't a sales tactic or hard sell. It's just the facts. So contact Michael if this is something, you're interested in looking into.
It's definitely not a sales tactic. I think that, we work with it every single day, day in and day out, being the #1 producer for them. So we just, we are very knowledgeable about the specials that they have and how to combine those specials and make sure that we're getting our guests the absolute best value. So that's, I think, the big difference is that we make ourselves aware. We're in it every single day. And, as you know, John, Viking's not the only product we sell. We sell all the cruise lines. We sell tour companies, but being the global top producer for them, gives us exposure to that product, I think, more than most And so we have a knowledge of the promotional codes, the rules, how things can be combined to give our guests the best value. So that's something that I think is really important. And of course, we offer service. As you said, we never charge a fee for our services. Some agents do never charge a fee for our services ever. So, but what we do work for the client and to get them the best price, help them plan the best trip, and make sure they're getting the best value for their money. So,
yeah, absolutely. Wow, so we've covered so much. I'm ready to put my $25 on. I want to go to Alaska in 2025. I really think Viking would does an amazing job, and of course, but I think Viking in Alaska is something I really want to do personally. But so we've covered the $25. A lot of promotions going on at the end of the month. What else can you tell us about Viking in 2023 in the future?
I mean, there are a couple great new itineraries that I really want to talk about, but I should cover just really quickly some of the promotions that are available currently in addition to the $25. As I said, there are some free air offers on River for both 23 and very few for 24. Many will notice that they did away with the free airfare for Grand European. They kind of broke it out so that the guests can choose whether or not to take the air or not, which is really helpful. But there are some great specials on River for 23 with the free air. There are some great specials on Ocean, I would say, like in the Med and Asia, for 2023. A couple of Canada New England sailings that I can think of that have some pretty great pricing and promotions. So there's definitely savings to be had if people are looking to do something this year and they want to, they are flexible as to where they go or when they go. Again, with Expedition, there's some itineraries with Antarctica, some repositioning itineraries that have some pretty aggressive pricing and some additional amenities. So if anybody's interested in that, it's definitely a great time to book. And then, with a $25 deposit, as you've already said, booking 2024 or 2025 is really smart because you're going to have first dibs on everything. And usually, as many guests know, once you make a deposit with Viking, which is usually $500 per person, $100 of that is immediately non-refundable. With the $25 deposit, that only the $25 is non-refundable. So if you cancel, your risk really is that $25 per person. So it's a great time to get something on the books early. Even those guests that I have called me and they're like, I never booked this early. I never booked this early. They're booking this early because they still have the flexibility with the $50 just to cancel if they want to.
Yeah, it's great. You don't have to worry about tying up a lot of money. You can literally book that cruise far in advance. This is what cruise addicts do. They book things well in advance. They put it down. If something changes, something in life changes where you can't do it, or maybe the funds aren't there when final payment comes around, or whatever the situation might be, you take it off. You lose $25. It's just an investment for a great vacation. And I'm sure the rates, you're going to monitor the rates for your clients. I know that. But then again, usually the rates are going to be the lowest now than they're ever going to be, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's really a win-win because the earlier you book, the better. The more space is available for you to have a better cabin. And when we look at itineraries like Portugal's Rivers of Gold or Pharaohs and Pyramids in Egypt, the itinerary that everybody asks me about, the voyage of Marco Polo, those are open for sale right now. And those sell 2 years in advance. If you try to get a decent cabin and a great date in 2024 for Portugal's Rivers of Gold, it's tough to find. Egypt is sold out. They just opened 2025. And I mean, we have sold more Egypt, I think, in the past 10 days because they just opened 2025 for Egypt. It's crazy. So the demand is really high because we have all this pent-up demand from 2 years of COVID, but then also combine it with the fact that we were already selling these itineraries 2 years out. If you're looking at specifically one of those itineraries, that's a really great itinerary to grab for 2025 with a $25 deposit. So I would highly recommend doing that.
Right. So give Michael a call. You can get in touch with him at 1-800-913-7245. He's standing by the phone. And you can also email him if that's more convenient at michael@planmycruise.com. What I'm hearing you're saying is there's a lot of last minute deals happening right now. There's a special promotion and clients, prospective clients should call you up and see what type of deals that could, and opportunities for maybe a last minute cruise, or even that strategic play for 2025 where they can lock in some cruise or some rate in the future in 2025 and 2024, something that they thought they might want, they thinking that they might want to do in the future. But what you're telling me is if they wait too long, it's not going to be there most likely, especially for a Viking cruise. So,
well, and not even that, but like if you look at the deck plans for some of these ships, right? And I mean, the ships on the rivers, they're very well designed. I mean, you're not going to have a lot of noise. You're not going to, I mean, these are not ships that are filled with partiers or kids. They don't let kids under the age of 18. That kind of thing. So noise is not an issue. But I have a lot of times I have clients that, I definitely want to have a cabin on the port side of the ship or the starboard side of the ship, or I want to have cabins above and below me, right? On the Egypt ship, there's one small section where there are cabins above and below. Those people that want to have those opportunities, now is the time to book, right? If you wait 6 months, those cabins are going to be gone. We can probably get you a cabin, but it's not going to be the preferred cabin you want. So the earlier you book, the better chance you have of getting the preferred cabin. And $50, we spend that at dinner. So, I mean, it's really a smart thing to book as early as possible.
I was thinking with inflation, that's like an appetizer.
Yeah. I mean, it's 2 dozen eggs, really, when you think about it.
So, wow, it's an exciting time for customers. I mean, it's really exciting. So I would definitely, if you're in the market for, you're thinking about doing some booking a cruise in the near future, or just want to see what's available, I think it's exciting because you're telling me there's specials going on, there's new itineraries and opportunities for the future. Definitely look into it. And so yeah, that's where we're at. Anything else that we want to add?
No, I mean, I'd love to show a couple of itineraries that are new, if I can.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Let me see if I can.
So we got some new fangled technology here. Michael's going to share his screen.
See if I can do this and do it right. Who knows, right?
It's all good. We're not live or anything. So.
Yes. In the meantime, maybe we can answer some of the questions on the left-hand side when we get ready.
I think I can even play some elevator music here.
Yeah, don't do that. It'll make me anxious. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I got it. Can you see the screen now that I have up here? Is it showing, John?
No, I can add it if you want me to click on it for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
So see the $25 anniversary sale. Yeah. So they have special fares and reduced airfare. So a couple of new itineraries, which one that's already really started to sell very quickly is this one, the circumnavigation, Grand Australia Circumnavigation. So it's a really nice itinerary for those people that want to see a lot more of Australia than what's offered on the Australia-New Zealand itinerary that they currently have. Of course, like many itineraries, it has to visit another country before the cruise terminates. So you'll see that on the map as well. So this itinerary here is, pretty nice, and it starts. It's 32 days, so it still qualifies for the $25 deposit, and it starts at $14,599 per person with air from $17.99. So pretty nice new itinerary from Viking for Australia. And then we also have another itinerary that people ask about a lot, which is the Voyage of Marco Polo. That itinerary is also open for 2025. You can see here, it's available starting from $13,998. This itinerary is 36 days, so it does not qualify for the $25 deposit, but many of you who've asked me when this will open. So this is a really, really nice itinerary that goes from Athens to Bangkok, or Bangkok to Athens, depending on the travel date. So very, very popular itinerary. And then there was another one that I wanted to point out that's new. Let's see. 31-day Australia, New Zealand, and Indonesia. This itinerary is Auckland to Bali, or Bali to Auckland. So very nice also starting in New Zealand and ending in Bali. You get to see a lot of New Zealand, Australia. It's a really great choice for people that are looking for something that's a little different than what they're offering now. This would also be eligible for the $25 per person deposit because it is less than 35 days. Let me go back to.
These are great itineraries.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I mean, they definitely are changing it up a little bit. So, and then for rivers, they have a couple new itineraries. One that's been out for a little while. It's called Capitals of Eastern Europe. This itinerary, it came out a few months ago, but has become pretty popular. So it is Vienna. It starts in Vienna and ends in Bucharest, or vice versa. It's offered, all year long. So this is a 17-day itinerary. Pretty nice, very different itinerary. So it's exciting to see some new river itineraries. There's another one on the Rhine, which I will show you here. Let's see. This is it right here. Lyon, Provence, and the Rhineland. This is actually, if anybody's familiar with France's Finest, it's similar to that, except that this combines a cruise in the south of France, from Avignon to Lyon, with a cruise from Basel to Amsterdam. So really nice itinerary. It's basically connected with a motor coach transfer between Lyon and Basel. So it's a really nice itinerary. This is new for people that have done a lot of the other river itineraries. It might be a great alternative. Also able to be reserved with just the $25 per person deposit. So, and of course, we had the release of the World Cruise for 2025, which has sold very well. Let me get there really quick. So this is offered with 3 iterations of the World Cruise: Fort Lauderdale to London, Los Angeles to London, and then this new version, which is Fort Lauderdale to New York City. It's 180 days. So this itinerary is actually 6 full months. Really nice itinerary for somebody that's interested in a world cruise. You will see, however, though, that it is pretty well sold already. So the suites are gone. There's a lot of limited availability here for this itinerary. So this is on the Viking Sky. So there's a lot of new itineraries available, and something that we certainly would love to help the guests with.
Great. No, we really appreciate that. I like that screen sharing really worked well. I mean, it really brings the itineraries to life. So that was awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So, well, and I was going to tell you, I was actually on the World Cruise. I don't know. I'll show you. 1 second. Hey, 1 second. So yeah, I got my bag. See?
Oh, there you go.
I have a hat here. So let's see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that sticker on the front come with it?
Yes.
Yes.
It makes it like extra cool. I got a little wallet thing here. So. And then I even met the godmother of the ship, Viking Neptune, because that's how I roll.
Yeah, I saw that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
so you got to go to the christening of the naming ceremony for the Neptune, right?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know it's been a little while since we've had a live stream. I was just on a world cruise, So.
Yeah. For one night.
But yeah, we got to go to the naming ceremony of the Viking Neptune. Really, really wonderful ceremony. We got to meet the godmother the next morning. Really, really awesome. Beautiful ceremony. And I know a lot of group members actually wrote that they were actually on the ship with me, and we tried to meet up, but of course, we didn't really know who was who, and they were busy as well. So, but really, really awesome.
I have to say, just to bring it full circle, I have a good number of guests on the World Cruise right now, and I have to tell you, they have booked a lot of the $25 deposits. That poor future cruise consultant on that ship, I think he's been very busy this month trying to keep up with all of that. So, but they did comment on how great this naming ceremony was, and it's a very exciting thing. I think one of the things that people don't really realize is that, and we get a lot of questions about this, is that all of these ships, whether they came out today or they came out in 2014, these ships are all exactly the same. And, the benefit of a privately held company is that they have, the luxury of being able to make sure that their ships are really well maintained. And I may have told this story before, but I feel like I should tell it again. We were in an Explorer suite, I think, on the Viking Sky, on our very first ocean voyage. And I came out of the cabin, and on the floor, on the carpet, there was this bleach stain. Somebody had just spilled bleach there, like it wasn't there the day before. And I remember saying, oh my God, the brand new ship, and it has this bleach stain, blah, blah, blah. But then we went on our excursion and we came back and they had changed the carpet. They had cut the carpet piece out and changed it. And that's a really great example of how well Viking maintains their ships. The ships are, they want to be consistent from, for guests, because guests that go on these types of voyages, they love the consistency. They love the consistency in the feel and the fabrics and the pillows, that when they go on expedition and they go on river, it all feels very familiar to them. But even with the river ships that they dry dock, or not dry dock, but they dock for 3 months out of the year, they go through those ships and they make sure that the fabrics are redone and the carpets are, so the ships never look like they're, they could be brand new or 6 years old. And if you put them next to each other, there'd be very little differences. So I don't think people realize that. We get a lot of questions from guests. Oh, I want to go on this ship because it's new. In the whole scheme of things, it's not going to make that much of a difference. You're not going to notice how new the ship is. So if you find an itinerary that you like and a cabin that you like on that itinerary, do not let the ship, that how old the ship or how new the ship might be, sway you from booking the itinerary or cabin that you want.
Right. And that's great for sharing that story, because people don't think about that. But as a customer, if you saw it, well, gosh, they're not really taking care of their ship, are they? There's got a stain or a mark, or there's a smudge or something like that. But the fact that they're so quick to fix things, you might not see that on a different brand, would you?
No, I think that, look, all the cruise lines, they dry dock their ships every 4 years, because they have to do this, they have to scale it, they have to do whatever. But I mean, I have to say that, and a lot of other lines maintain their ships very well. I've never seen a line that maintains their ships as well as Viking does. I mean, they just are meticulous about it.
Yeah, it's a very impressive. But it was a real honor to be aboard the Viking Neptune. I wish I got to meet some people face to face, but it was really, really awesome. I got to meet Sissel the next morning as well. I didn't get a picture with her, but I got a picture with the godmother, and got to talk to both of them. They're really, really wonderful women. So it was really an honor. So let's see. We've got lots of questions. Are you ready for questions, or anything else you want to talk about? Any sales?
Oh, yeah, no, I love questions. You know me. Okay. I'll talk about all kinds of stuff while we answer the questions.
But yeah, once again, we've got a lot of sales going on here. This is the time. If you have the time and you want to book something in advance, or want to find out what kind of specials exist, if you're single and you're always concerned about that single supplement, it sounds like this might be the time where you can get a great rate, no matter what the situation is. So give Michael a call. Give him a call at 1-800-913-7245 or michael@planmycruise.com. Call him. He's always available, and I know he'd love to have your business. So let's see here. We've got plenty of people here. We really appreciate, first of all, please give us a like, give us a star, give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channels, YouTube, Facebook. We really appreciate it. If you haven't checked in and said hello, let us know where you're coming in, checking in from, and also let us know if you have a cruise booked on Viking or any line. Just say hello. We want to hear from you. We want to see you. And I'll quit talking. Let's see. We'll get these questions. So we have some of these. If you don't give, I always say this, but if you don't give the group permission, it's just like a little click from the group. It'll say Facebook user. So in the future, just give us a click, and we can see your smiling face and your name, and we'd appreciate it. But we appreciate you checking in from Michigan. We have plenty of other users saying hello. We really appreciate it. We've got about 10, 12 of these. We've got Stuart Little. Stuart checking in from Denver. Thank you, Stuart. Really appreciate it. We've got a Facebook user.
Hi, Stuart.
California. We've got Virginia. And hi from New York, Facebook user looking to do the Med Icon cruise, but never see it on sale. Michael, what's that all about?
Is it iconic Western Mediterranean? If that's what they're asking about, they should reach out to us. We might be able to find something for them that would have a good promotion. So
yeah, this is exactly what we're talking about. There's a lot going on. Give Michael a call, write him an email. He'd love to have your business. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost anything to make a phone call. And if he earns your business, even better, right? So
yeah.
Facebook user San Diego, Virginia. We really appreciate this. Savannah, Georgia, right down the street. Let's see. We've got Charlotte, North Carolina going on the Greek Odyssey in 2 weeks.
That's a really nice itinerary, which I did not see on the 2025 list, the Greek Odyssey. So if you want to experience that itinerary, looks like 23 and 24 may be the only opportunity. It does not look like it's on the list for 2025. So far, it may be, but we haven't seen it. So I know you're going to love it. It's a great itinerary.
And we have a Facebook user from Eastern Pennsylvania. First time cruises, we're doing the GE
Cindy or
Grand European cruise this April, Amsterdam to Budapest. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure what this is. How do we get that through Viking?
Not sure. I wonder what they're talking about. How did you get what? Call us. We'll get it for you.
Yeah. So we can see. Oh, maybe this. We on the search for Northern Lights late February. Do we wait until then and get that deal for booking while on a cruise?
So, I mean, we always encourage our guests to book on board. The cruise line is very good about making sure that the agent that you book with gets credit for the sale you make on board the ship. They will usually add an additional onboard credit or an additional discount. Most of the time when you book on board, the $100 or $200 past guest discount that you qualify for is doubled. So it would be, double the $200 onboard credit. Keep in mind that, the specials that are going on now in January may not be for February. So it might be a risk you want to take with that additional $200 savings. But just so people are aware, we always, in addition to working really hard for our clients to make sure we provide excellent service and providing our clients knowledge, and that's what our clients come back to us for, is the service and the knowledge we provide. We do always have some sort of incentive for you to book with us, some sort of onboard credit incentive above what's being offered. But the real reason that our clients work with us is for the service and the knowledge we provide. And that's the business that we've developed. It's all about relationships and developing relationships with our clients and making sure that we take excellent care of them. It's never about the sale. It's always about working with you to find the best value, giving you the best service, make sure you have the best experience so that you come back to us and refer all your friends to us. That's really important to us.
Exactly. And we have another group member. Check it in. Hope I didn't miss much. I don't think you did. And remember, all these, either Facebook or YouTube, it's all recorded and you can watch it back. So that's the good thing. You can watch us. You can watch us over and over again. And that's why this exactly. See, the Facebook said exactly, John. So, and we're checking in. More check-ins. Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. And hello from Washington, right? Looking for the Northern Lights cruise. So Michael just said, "What Northern Lights cruise, Michael?"
Yeah, so I think they must be interested in that. It's definitely a popular itinerary, only offered during certain months of the year. So it's something that you really want to book as early as possible to get the best possible cabins.
Right. So let's see here. Check it in. We really appreciate it. Just make sure you give the group. It has a little link so we can see your smiling face and your name. Let's see. And then this Facebook user says, I never thought about the single supplement. We travel with our son, now 28. So this would be an option for him along with a double for us.
Yeah, I mean, it depends really on the itinerary that you're looking for, but there are some single supplement specials available on specific itineraries or like on the standard cabins on the river cruise ships, but certainly something that is doable. I know that singles struggle with finding, sailings and trips they can do without paying a single supplement. And, we can help you find something that would work.
Let's see here. Well, I bet we've got so many comments. I'm getting lost on the screen here. So let's see here. Here's a question. Michael, when is the best time to book the Chilean fjords cruise from Buenos Aires to Santiago?
Yeah. So as far as like physically making the reservation, as early as possible. And honestly, I don't think Viking offers that itinerary at a bad time of the year. So if you're talking about what's the best time to actually travel on the itinerary, really any time between November and March is a good time to do the itinerary. But the earlier, the better. I would say, without being redundant and having said this $25 deposit thing over and over and over again, now's probably your best opportunity to book it with a really low deposit.
And is that an itinerary they have several years? So this person can book it for 2025?
Yeah, it's constantly reoccurring. Yeah, it's an itinerary that they offer in our winter. Yes.
So this would be great options. You have multiple years you could book it, or last minute, or whatever, what have you. And for $25. Let's see. So we have another question. This is from Kathy Westmichael from YouTube. Thank you, Kathy, for writing. I reserved my Iceland Greenland cruise for August 2024 with $25. Also got a discount of $500. My first ocean cruise is this March, Venice to Athens.
Great. So I'm glad to know that you got a discount. I think that $500, just judging from the amount, is the early booking savings on that particular itinerary. That savings, equal savings is offered on most all of the itineraries. And when you see on the cruise line's website the price, and then you see a price crossed out, that's the early booking savings amount that you're seeing that's underneath the cross out. So great. Good for you for taking advantage of a great sale.
And Kathy, thanks again for making a comment. Really appreciate it. Let's see here. Facebook user from the group wrote, I just booked Faroes and Pyramids Nile River cruise for January 2025. Only $25 per person. Final payment is due December this year, 13 months in advance.
So he's going in January of 25. So as you said, his payment is due 13 months in advance, but very smart to take advantage of that special. It's a great time of the year to travel in Egypt in January. So you did the right thing, booking, now and taking advantage of the $25 deposit. And quite frankly, what many people don't understand is that even though the final payment is due a year, 18 months in advance, you still have until, depending on the sailing, but 90% of the sailings have the same cancellation penalties. You still have until 121 days prior to departure to cancel and get your money back, except for the $100 per person Viking cancellation fee. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to hold some space on a very popular itinerary.
We got someone else from the group commenting, and they're asking you, Michael, what are some of the hot cruises that sell out quickly we should be looking at?
Well, I would say that any of the river cruises in May or September, especially for 2024, Paris in the heart of Normandy, because of the 80th anniversary of D-Day, you'll find that will sell very quickly. In fact, most of June is already sold simply because that's when the anniversary is. We already mentioned Egypt, Pharaohs and Pyramids. That sells 2 years in advance. Portugal's Rivers of Gold sells 2 years in advance. France's Finest, although it's the combination of both Lyon and Provence and Paris in the heart of Normandy, that itinerary sells pretty quickly as well, simply because they sell them both as the 14-day itinerary and then individually as 2 7-day itineraries. So one sailing may have space and one sailing may not have space. So if you're looking to do that, France's Finest, I would encourage you to book that as early as possible, because it may not be possible to get the same cabin type on both sailings if you don't. For ocean, British Isles Explorer would probably be the most popular itinerary, in addition to Mediterranean Odyssey, which is one of my favorites. It's a 12-night from Barcelona to Venice or Venice to Barcelona. The Viking Homelands, although the itinerary has changed to take Russia off the itinerary for obvious reasons, it has also become pretty popular because it visits more Norway and some of the other Scandic countries, which is has created a really nice itinerary. So, and there just happen to be some pretty good specials for that for 2023 if people are interested. Those are the ones I definitely would book in advance. Australia, New Zealand seems to be getting a lot more popular. And also the Alaska sailings, especially if you want a pre-package or a post-package in Denali. Those sell very, very quickly. And this is something that I don't think people realize also, John. The pre and post packages, a lot of times people call us and they say, oh, I want to do the Rhine getaway and I want to do Lucerne and Amsterdam. Well, the cabin's available on the itinerary, but the pre or post may not be available. And people don't realize that those are limited. They limit them to, 45 or 50 guests on each pre or post package, and maybe even less than that. I know for Pharaohs and Pyramids, we have some sailings that only have 10 pre and post packages for a ship that carries 84 people. So, that is something that would really push people to book early. If you're looking to do Jerusalem or Petra on Egypt, or the road to Santiago or Madrid on Portugal's Rivers of Gold, or you want to go see Highclere Castle, those extensions are not always available just because they're listed on the website. They are very limited, and they are limited to the number of guests that they allow. So even though the ocean ships hold 934 guests, the people that go on the Barcelona pre or post extension, there may only be 100 seats on that excursion, on that extension. So you really want to make sure you book early if you want to take advantage of those extensions. And again, work with a qualified, educated travel agent that can help guide you through how to find the right sailing, the right date, and that's going to have those pre or post extensions. It's a puzzle to put together, and it can be somewhat difficult. And it leads me to one other topic, John, that I really would like to mention. There's a lot of discussion on board about the value of the pre and post packages, and I think it's worth reviewing that. The pre and post packages are more valuable in some cities than in others, and more valuable to some people than to other people. Okay. So like some people love to have, just to address the packages in general, some people love to have one person who takes care of everything. They get off the plane, they go get their luggage, they meet the Viking rep. The Viking rep takes them to the motor coach. The motor coach takes them to the hotel. There's a Viking rep at the hotel. They have breakfast daily. They have an included city tour. They have a transfer to the ship. That's all part of the package. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to wait for their luggage, go find a taxi, find the hotel, pay for their own breakfast, check in, move their luggage, wait for this. So just some examples of differences between doing it by yourself and doing it through the cruise line. And a lot of these hotels, if your room is not ready, you have to store your luggage with the hotel and go off and wait. At a lot of the Viking hotels, they have a specific room where Viking guest luggage is held. And the only person who has access to that room is the person who works for Viking that's in the lobby, that's going to be your Viking host for the whole time. That's kind of reassuring to most people. That has value. Knowing somebody's going to meet you when you get off the plane and take you to the motor coach so you don't have the stress of having to get a taxi and get your luggage outside, that has value to some people. So it just depends on what's valuable to a guest as to whether or not those packages have value in general, right? In addition, that person, the Viking host who's on the trip with you, on that extension with you, they can recommend restaurants, they can recommend, tours, they can arrange tours for you. And they know the limitations. They know what happens. I had a guest over the weekend who lost the airline lost their luggage. The Viking host helped them find their luggage and get it to the hotel. That's not going to come with a package that you do on your own, right? So that kind of reassurance is what you're paying for in the value. In addition, if you do the package on your own and you take the Viking Air, you have to pay a deviation fee of $100. So now we have a package that might be $599. We have to pay $100 per person. There's $100 of the $599. We have to buy the transfers. That's another $50 per person of the $599. They have to pay for their own breakfast. When you look at it, yes, you may save $100, $150 doing it on your own, but is it worth $100 or $150 doing it on your own to have the stress of having to handle all that stuff if your car doesn't show up, that kind of thing? Then we have the value of the packages in certain cities, right? So obviously, like Amsterdam is a city that's pretty easy to navigate, but Venice is not. If your ship is leaving from Venice, that package has a lot of value. They're going to take you from the airport to the hotel and then get you from the hotel to the port, which could be 2 hours away, depending on where your ship is docking. So that has a big value to people, right? right? So I think that people who question the value, and there's been a lot of discussion about it, about these packages, it depends on what's valuable to you. And as a travel agent, our job is to help you work through and figure out where it's better to spend that money and where it might not be better to spend that money. That is not something you're going to get from working directly with the cruise line. That is something you're only going to get from somebody who also has some alternatives to offer you, like we do, for packages and things like that can help you navigate what's going to be the best value. That's the long answer to the question.
Yeah, I like that because, there is a lot of discussion about this, and I see people saying, I do this and this and this, but I've done these types of things with cruise lines, and it's the simplicity and how it all flows together is so nice, where you don't have to think and worry about all those little details. It's all taken care of you, and most likely, like a lot of what I hear you're saying is a lot of times it's actually a great value too.
It is a great value. I mean, you look at Budapest, where the packages are $399, $499 for 2 nights. It's a good value. And when when you have to get to the airport, in a lot of these cities, the flights, and this is something else we see online all the time, the flights leave at 6:30, 7 a.m. because some of them are just commuter flights that get them to another big city that can get them home. The motor coach pulls up at the airport, and there's a team of 6 or 8 Viking people there to help get the luggage off the motor coach, get the luggage inside, get the guests checked in, get the guests to security. And that is reassuring to people that have not traveled to Europe before, right? Or that may be apprehensive about being in a foreign country. Yes, it can totally be done on your own. But whether or not you want the stress of handling all those details and not having somebody take care of it for you is where the value lies. And that's what we help our clients determine.
And that was the biggest thing that impressed me the most. The first time I've been to Europe was actually on a Viking river cruise. And that hand-holding was so reassuring because I've never been there. I've never been overseas like that. A difference between taking a Caribbean cruise out of Miami that's a looped cruise compared to flying to Europe and going to multiple airports and stuff like that. To have the Viking representation take you right through security or right up to security into the gate was everything, checked us in, make sure everything was done right. Really, really loved it. And I know and I can tell because even a question asked on the group this week, what made Viking stand out to them, in a few words, it was those details that they really, really appreciated. Really, really great. So thanks for sharing that. And it sounds to me like it's just a great value, and also it's simplicity. It makes your vacation better.
Yeah, I mean, and I have to tell you, I'm a type A. I tell my clients this. I'm a type A control freak. Like, I am like, okay, well, we have to be off the ship. What is this? They said we have to leave at 6:30, but my flight's at 9:30. How is it going to take us only an hour to get? I'm one of those people, okay? But I have learned over time that, look, they do this every week. They know the process. They know how long it takes to get people to the airport. They know what it's going to take to get them checked in. They know how long it's going to take them to get them on the motor coach. They do this every week. And, if you want to relieve yourself of that stress, then the package is for you. If you want to be in control of all of it and you don't want anybody else to control it, and you want to be responsible for all of those details along the way, when you get to the hotel and the room that they gave you is not what you paid for, that is exactly the type of person that should do it separately. But the people that want to see the value in the package and being able to have their hand held through the whole process, then the package definitely has value. And I think that again, our job is to help our guests determine where and when that is the best route for them.
Great. So we'll get back to some of these people checking in and say any questions, if that's okay. Now, let's see here. Lou Mello, our friend Lou Mello is checking in. Great to see you, Lou, from Facebook. And he says, hi, guys, just noticed you were live. We are doing the Viking Mars in June for 19 days. This was from 2020, which had been moved.
Great. Lou, finally, right? So congratulations, 3 years later.
And Lou, thank you for checking in.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. And he had posted, so I think Stuart Lettle from Facebook. Hello, Stuart. Thanks for checking in. With the longitudinal cruise, this is for expedition ships, will there be any repositioning for expedition?
So there are some repositioning cruises for expedition, right? I think there's some Caribbean cruises from Buenos Aires, things like that are available. So the longitudinal cruise, there are segments of that are available to purchase. So yes, there are some repositioning cruises on expedition. And I have to tell you, and John will agree with me, he's actually sitting in one of the cabins right now. Those ships are incredible. They are probably some of the most incredible ships that I have been on. And I have been on a lot of ships. I stopped counting at 200. So the ships are some of the most sophisticated, most beautifully designed ships I've ever seen. So if you're thinking about an expedition trip, whether it be in Antarctica, or even if you just want to do the Great Lakes, there are some great opportunities on Octantis and Polaris to do that on ships that are 340 guests. Very nice opportunity.
Yeah, and I can only echo what you said. This is actually my cabin behind me on the Viking Octantis, and I took a cruise that you're talking about. It was a segment from Barbados to New York City, and loved it. It was last year, so I highly recommend it. The ship was a perfect combination of things I loved about the river cruise and the ocean cruise all in one. Really phenomenal. I could go on and on and on. And please check Cruise Addicts for any videos. I do have a room tour and some highlight video on there. Yeah, I can just go. The food was incredible. So that's what I really liked about it. And so we've got more. So Stuart, thank you again for checking in. We really appreciate it. And we've also got Facebook users from the group. Is there a circumnavigation of New Zealand? And I think we just kind of saw something like that. It wasn't a navigation, but it was similar. Right?
There's not a circumnavigation of New Zealand, but there is an itinerary that is heavily New Zealand and Australia. One of the itineraries I saw showed gave a good number of ports in both, but there is not one that is just dedicated to New Zealand. But John, I want to just up above, there's one up here that says, somebody says that they're scared about the rivers drying up. So I have to speak to
that. I missed that.
I'm kind of scared of the rivers drying up. Well, here's the thing. They're not going to dry up, okay? And the issues that we had this past year was a historic drought in Europe. So, and really the issues lasted till about the 15th of September. And then the ships were able to navigate most of the rivers just fine, including the Rhine, who everybody said was going to dry up when it was dry. All the news outlets said the river's drying up, and you can see these ships from years ago and all of that. Somehow they still navigated some of those rivers to get guests from one end to the other. I will say this, that typically we see these water level issues in July and August, and anybody that's booked a river cruise with me has heard me say this to them, the times to avoid, if you want to avoid water level issues, are July and August, the heat of the summer, where the heat is burning the water off and the rain is, the rain levels are low. That's where we tend to see low water issues. So if you're looking at a date, again, we encourage you to book April, May, possibly the beginning of June, definitely September, October. Those are safe bets for water level issues, but the rivers are not going to dry up. The water comes from the snow, the ice, the ocean, the rain, and those are always going to be here. So we are going to see issues occasionally on the rivers, and the cruise lines make accommodations for that. This past year was definitely one of the more difficult times in August and the beginning of September, but then we saw it go away and things returned to normal. And, so I felt like we needed to address that, because I get calls from people all the time. They're like, well, if I go and I read that the Rhine is dried up. Well, okay, that was 4 months ago. It's not today. So we're good. So, I understand why people are concerned about that, but, there's some facts that I think are missed when we read this stuff online or see these articles. And, just for the record, the majority of my guests that sailed in September went uninterrupted. And where those guests that were interrupted by water level issues, the cruise line really stepped up and made sure they were taken care of. And I think that we see those posts on Facebook that tell us that they were well taken care of. So, don't be apprehensive about booking a river cruise, but be smart about when you book it so that you know that you're going to avoid the possibility of that happening.
Right. And it's very cyclical. It's kind of like the weather, just like different parts of the country here, sometimes there's rainy seasons, sometimes there's not, or you can get snow this year. It's kind of like a hit and miss. And so you just have to look at the big picture. And Lou asked a question. I have no idea you have an answer to this here. But he said, and I'm not 100% sure because it's been a while since I've been on an ocean ship. He said he was on the Viking. He said the Orient in 2019. He had a typo here, but he said there was a. Do you think about this hallway doors instead of magnets? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't know if he means in the main hallway. The answer to the question is no, Lou. I don't know the answer to that question. It's actually, I did not know that it was an issue, but I understand that in the Tasman Sea, there can be a lot more motion than in other parts of the world. So it's quite possible that that was an issue on board that sailing for you. I do not know if they have replaced them.
Yeah, and another user said, we were once on a short segment of the World Cruise, which was the final segment. It was absolutely fascinating to hear the stories of the passengers who boarded much earlier.
Yeah, I will say that World Cruise guests, once they do a World Cruise, they come back and they want to do another and do another. And I'm not saying every year, but I have clients that do them every other year. And, they really enjoy it. They enjoy who they meet on board. They enjoy the freedom of not worrying about the stuff they worry about at home. And, it's a great opportunity. If you have the time and the ability to do it, it's definitely a great option. My clients that have done it have always come back and raved about it. So I can imagine it's a very exciting thing to do. I personally would not be able to do it just because I have to work. And I have clients ask me all the time, oh, are you going to host a cruise on a world cruise? Well, I wish I could, but then the rest of my clients would kill me for not being able to answer the phone. So,
might be retirement goals, right?
Yes, exactly.
So we have, let's see. Lou is saying he loves the river cruises because it's so many fun seeing places and meeting new friends. Definitely. Yep. Hello from Tampa from a Viking group member. Let's see. Yeah, let's see here. We've got another member checking in. Passage to Eastern Europe, March 23. They're going on, Michael.
Nice itinerary. Definitely a good time to go.
So we've got a question here. And this is a common question we see on the group. So and I know you did cover quite a bit earlier. So I don't know if you want to cover it again because you did kind of cover it earlier, didn't you?
Sure. Well, I mean, I can cover it quickly. The biggest value to working with a travel agent instead of going direct is that the travel agent is going to have what we offer our clients is experience. So I've been on over 22 Viking cruises on various itineraries. I've been on almost all the river itineraries. It is something that most agents in the direct centers have not even stepped on board a ship. So in addition to being able to help you navigate, the pre and post packages, the promotions, how to get the most for your money, all of that stuff, we're also going to be able to provide you with firsthand experience on most of these itineraries and be able to explain to you how you can get the best value from the money that you're spending with Viking. And I think that is something that cannot be learned from a book. It's something that, you have to experience firsthand. And in addition to that, we can provide you alternatives to what Viking offers. So just like the pre and post packages, if they don't fit the bill, we're going to help you find something that does. They're not able to do that. They're not able to help you determine whether or not a third party insurer is the better choice for you. So, we are your advocate, and the relationship that I have with the cruise line, helps me help you solve issues. And that I think is the biggest benefit to working with us, in addition to the fact that we're available to you all the time. My clients will tell you I make myself very available to you. You can reach me anytime, even when, outside of office hours, I respond right away. That is something that you're not going to get every time you call Viking. You're going to get a different person, or the person that you work with may only work 4 days a week. But, we are very responsive. We're going to provide you excellent service and the knowledge to get the best value for your dollar. And I think that is really the biggest thing that we bring to the table, in addition to always having some sort of incentive like an onboard credit or something like that for you to book with us.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that again. And Wendy Roy checked in, and she says she cruises with Carnival mostly, but she's checking in from Fort Worth, Texas. So thank you for checking in.
Great. Thanks for being here, Wendy. You should check out some of the Viking cruises and what they have to offer. It is going to be other parts of the world that Viking does. I mean, that Carnival doesn't offer. So it would be a great opportunity to try a different line.
Yeah, she also put, she said she's booked for Carnival Spirit in Alaska, which is great. I love Alaska. So she writes that here. And then we've got more people checking in, as you can see here. This group member wrote, their first Viking cruise was on the Rhine, pre and post Lake Como. So,
and then they're going to do the Hague afterwards. Very nice. Yeah, the Lake Como extension was added a few years ago to the Rhine getaway itinerary, and people have really loved it. It's a great opportunity to see Italy, before the cruise, before you go to Basel. So great choice. I know you're going to love it. I've done the Rhine, by the way, about 4 times. So.
And I remember we were talking about I forget the itinerary, but I think the user post, yes, that's the one I think you would refer to, iconic Mediterranean, was it?
Iconic Western Mediterranean.
Yeah. That's the one. So they said, this person said, we've done 2 river cruises in 2022 and have an ocean cruise at the end of this year. Awesome.
Great. That's awesome.
And Alexa Weber is checking in from Facebook. And they said they're looking to book the West Indies Explorer in February 2024 for 4 couples so far.
Yeah, and Alexa, I would encourage you to give us a call. We'll take excellent care of you, find you the best deal. We can help you navigate the differences in the cabin locations, the amenities with those cabins, which, by the way, is very important on the ocean product. So helping you choose the right cabin category so that you can get the best value out of the included excursion. So please give us a call, and I would love to help you.
And I see people talk about that a lot. Now we're kind of getting long into this. We should probably cover that in a future one. But there's a lot of differences as far as dining and different room amenities, isn't there?
Yeah, we should do a whole show on that, John.
Yeah, no doubt. So good idea for the future here. And let's go here. They've also got a member checking in. Hello from Texas. Looking forward to the Panama Canal in March and Hawaii sojourn in December this year. That's awesome.
Yeah, that Hawaiian sojourn itinerary is pretty cool. So
Knoxville, Illinois is checking in. Thanks for checking in. We really appreciate it. And we've got, they asked a question. Any 2025 expedition trips available? They have 4 Viking trips in the books over the next 2 years.
Yeah, that's very exciting to have 4 trips over the next 2 years. I think currently Antarctica is not yet open for 2025. I think we still have, and this goes back to when we started the conversation about why they release itineraries when they do. I still think they have some good inventory left for 2023 and 2024. And I think once we see that kind of dwindle, they'll come out with 2025. But there's definitely some good deals. There's some specials on Antarctica that if you're interested in Antarctica for 23 or 24, you need to reach out to us because there are some pretty good deals that we can't even mention in a video.
It's that good.
It's that good.
So, and I don't think there's any. I was just in that presentation on Viking Neptune, and I don't believe there's any plans to build any more expedition ships at this point, is there?
I think they think that the 2 are good for now. There's been a big push in the past, I'd say 5 to 8 years for expedition ships in Antarctica. So there's a lot of berths there, not including, not just Viking. There are other lines there as well. So, yeah. But I mean, to be honest with you, and we get into this all the time, we should do a segment about Antarctica because I'll be honest, there's a lot of differences between the different lines and what they offer in Antarctica and exactly what, you're getting for your money on an Antarctica sailing. You can do Antarctica on a big ship. You can do it on an expedition ship. There's a huge difference between the 2.
It's funny you mention that, but I saw something, and of course you understand it better than I do, that some of these Antarctica cruises you don't actually get off. You do like a drive-by. Is that?
Yeah, you do a drive-by. A lot of people don't realize that. And now the expedition ships, that's not the case. And then a purpose-built expedition ship is going to make it a lot easier for somebody to get in and out of a Zodiac and all that stuff to go see the penguins. And that's why you need to work with a qualified travel agent that can help you navigate that, because there's a huge difference between a mainstream line that goes to Antarctica and an expedition ship that's purpose built to go there, like the Viking Octantis and Polaris.
Big difference. The hangar area is just incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah. So we'll continue on here. Got a Facebook group user checking in. Canada and East Coastline in April and trade routes in June. Oh, that is awesome.
2 really nice itineraries.
This person has, they have the Eastern Seabourn cruise in July, got off the New Zealand and Australia ocean cruise over Christmas and New Year, and they live in Denver, North Carolina. Really
Very
cool.
nice.
Thank you for checking in.
Yeah.
Are there any suggestions on getting an upgraded room? Also, I read that going through a travel agent can get you a ship credit. R said she doesn't know. Should I press?
Okay, well, look, I think it's great you have a travel agent that you work with. We work really hard to build loyalty with our clients. And so it's nice to see when somebody has loyalty to their agent. I do think you should ask her about the onboard credit and also, the upgraded room situation. The truth is that the upgrades are few and far between. Viking generally does not offer upgrades. We do see some, a lot of our clients who have sailed with them many times. And, I don't know what factors they put in that, but we do see our clients that have sailed many times with them occasionally get upgraded. But there's no way to get an upgraded room after you've purchased the ticket without paying the difference in cost or taking advantage of a special that may have that upgrade included. But if you're looking to go from like deluxe veranda to penthouse veranda or penthouse to penthouse junior suite, something like that, those are going to be paid upgrades at the rate you see published on the site. Very rarely will you ever see a reduced paid upgrade like you might see on some of the larger lines. Viking operates very differently than other lines, and this is a really good example of where we don't see them reducing. They work very hard not to disparage their product and have a guest pay $2,000 less than the person sitting next to them at dinner that is in the same category. They want the guests to know that when they pay the price, they're getting the best value.
Awesome, thank you. And we had one user goes, "That is me, Mike. I'm going to call you." And I'm trying to remember what that referred to, but I'm guessing you answered someone's question. They're going to get a hold of you. So
Yeah.
Really nice. And I hope everybody on the group can actually just have to give the group permission. There's a little link so we can start seeing people's names and faces. We really appreciate the interaction, and we're glad to see something rather than nothing. But we'll try to emphasize that in the future. You only have to do it once too. So, and Alexa Webber said, "We just finished Australian Komodo cruise, best Australian post extension. What an amazing cruise experience."
Yeah, everybody loves that itinerary. And I think that, people that are apprehensive about going that far should do it with Viking, because my clients love those itineraries with Viking for that very reason. They feel very comfortable that they're going to be taken care of.
And here's a question that I'm kind of, it looks like it's two-part. How does a Viking customer who's booked both river and ocean multiple times get upgraded, I believe? Yeah. So is there such a thing? And I'm kind of curious too. I mean, what is the customer really trying to say? Do they book a standard balcony and then they get upgraded to like a penthouse suite or something?
Look, some of the upgrades we saw during the COVID times, right, were so that they could move guests out of a certain section of the ship and have that ship available for medical staff that they would have on board, or to quarantine guests that were COVID positive. So, we did see upgrades during that time. It is not a normal practice for them to see those upgrades. That is why people were being upgraded. But people who want to be upgraded after the fact usually have to wait until they are on board and then go to the front desk and ask about an upgrade. There is going to be a fee for that, unless the guest just has a number of sailings with the cruise line and the front desk sees fit to do it otherwise. But they usually don't do it. I mean, there's just the upgrades are not something that is normal and is usually only done to accommodate either a ship that might be oversold with guarantees, or they have to move it for other reasons. We saw some guests, for example, the issue with Polaris with the cabins that were damaged. They had to bring people on board to repair those cabins, and in order to accommodate them, they had to upgrade some other guests in order to accommodate those guests. So, I mean, the service team. So that's where we would see upgrades occasionally, but it's not a normal practice for them to upgrade guests. And in the times that they do it, we only see it with our guests that have sailed several times with them. So it's not something that I would count on. If I tell my clients, book what you think you can live with. If you want a higher category cabin, you need to book it now. Those suites, the penthouse verandas and the penthouse junior suites, they go very quickly on all the sailings, especially the penthouse junior suites. So, the chances of getting upgraded on a Viking cruise are slim to none. The other cruise lines are all monetizing their upgrade policy. So what they're doing is they're having people bid on cabins that aren't even available. And if that cabin becomes available, then the guest pays whatever they bid for that cabin and they get upgraded. I don't think we'll ever see that with Viking. I don't think that's what they want to do. But none of the cruise lines are really giving free upgrades anymore. And Viking really has very limited opportunities to do so.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, I think that's more of a big ship thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you, like you said, even though other cruise lines are changing the way they do that now, it's all coming down to money, of course.
Yes.
And here's a good question: is free airfare offered on the Lion Province and Rhineland River cruise?
Yeah, I think that I don't think it's offered for 2023 or 2024. To be honest with you, I would have to look and see, but I don't believe it's one of the included dates. I don't think it's one of the included itineraries for free air.
Okay. Here's a question.
Yeah. So I would encourage the guests who asked that question to reach out to us, because if there is a free air offer for it, and there may be, we would be able to tell them when those are and what dates would qualify. So, yeah.
Yeah, so please reach out to Michael at the phone number and email below, and he can work on that for you and hopefully find you some great free airfare, or maybe something similar. That's the whole thing of having a conversation with a travel agent that's working for you. They can say, this is available, this price works out where it might not be included, but you're saving the amount that the airfare would be, or the airfare is cheaper that time of year. I'm sure things like that.
It does look like that for 2023 and not for 2024, but for 2023, the Lyon, Provence, and the Rhineland does have free air. For 2024, it looks like the air is an additional cost.
Awesome, thank you. Hopefully the user saw that. Let's see. And so we got a general question here from Todd Patrick checking in from Facebook. Thank you, Todd. And he writes, I'm dying to go on the best Asian cruise out there. What cruise line would be best for Asia? Length would be 7 to 21 days. Will work for him. And he also want to let you know that he is a solo cruiser.
Yeah, so to answer this question on this call, on this webinar would be kind of difficult, just because I don't really know anything about your travel style or what you're looking to include. And as you know, there are all types of cruise lines that sail in Asia. So what we do and what a travel agent does best is help fit the guest to the right line and what meets their needs. So I would need to have more of a conversation with you to tell you. There are very few lines though that offer 7-day cruises in Asia, just because guests who are going that far typically are not going to just go for 7 days. So but we would welcome the opportunity to talk with you and help you find the right fit. That's what we do.
Excellent. And we got another one checking in here from Facebook. We go on the Rhine in March, first Viking cruise with Lake Como and Amsterdam to The Hague.
Yeah, that's a nice itinerary too. So I think that's the same cruise that somebody else was doing earlier in the show. Yeah.
And I think they're talking about, it's funny to see the comments, because they're commenting on things at the time. And I think someone's talking about the having everything done by Viking. Oh, let's see. Great information. What's our first step to find someone like yourself? Viking does the stressful stuff.
Yeah. So the first step to finding me is to give us a call at 800-913-7245, or you can email me at michael@planmycruise.com, or visit our website, www.planmycruise.com.
Right. And Lou Mello is saying how wonderful the Viking expedition ships. He says some of these bloggers are doing recaps. He says, Viking just always does everything right. And yeah, really impressive, the attention to detail. And he also said that he appreciates your knowledge, Michael, that you bring to the live streams, very helpful. And
Thanks, Lou.
yeah. And I'm going to scan some of these things because we're getting a little long here. Facebook, thanks for doing this. River cruise for the first time. Is doing a river cruise the first time? Is it good to go on a river cruise for the first cruise that they do? They're thinking about Amsterdam, and do you have a recommendation?
I generally recommend the Danube or the Rhine, either the 7-day romantic Danube or the 7-day Rhine getaway, or the 14-day to get the best value, which would be the Grand European. Those are probably the best options for a new river cruiser. And of course, as I said earlier, we would help you pick the right date. So give us a call if you're looking to find the best value.
Yeah. And another user asked, any last minute opportunities from Missouri?
I mean, there are some specials for 2023. All of 2023 has some, some free air offers for river. As I mentioned earlier, there are some special sales on certain itineraries for 2023. You may want to reach out and we can help you find the right thing. Also, last minute means a different thing to all people. So last minute could be next week or June. But we definitely have a special offer we can find for you that would fit.
Right. And let's see here. We've got some more questions. We're not going to get to all of them today, but we really appreciate it. Please write, if the Facebook group members, please write your questions on the group if we don't get to all of them today. Some of them I can tell are kind of take a pretty long answer. Got someone checking in. Yes, joining soon. Oh, they said they really appreciate all the information. Be calling you soon. Really appreciate it. Someone's doing a 19 days on the Mississippi. That'd be awesome. I've heard really great things about that. And someone else checking in. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm gonna try to find one more question, Michael, here. I think I saw that about airfare.
It's up here. It says, how hard is it to upgrade flights from premium economy to business class using air miles if your flights are booked through Viking using Viking Air Plus? Tips on how to do this. Well, it's very easy because it can't be done, unfortunately. So the cruise line works with contracted rates, and the contracts don't allow them to upgrade tickets with points or miles. So I tell my clients, if you're looking to buy a ticket with points or miles, you need to do that directly with the airline. It's the only way that can be done. The Viking Air program cannot be upgraded with points or miles, even if you have Air Plus. If the best way to get through Viking, what you want for the class of service, is the same recommendation I have for the cabins, which is, you kind of have to buy what you want through them. So if you want economy and you're good with that, then economy is a great value through Viking. Even the premium economy can be a great value. And depending on the itinerary, the business class can also be a great value. But if you have the points or miles to buy that ticket directly with the airline and buy a lower class ticket and upgrade with miles, I would encourage you to do that through the airline. Viking won't offer you that opportunity.
Okay, I think I got pretty much everything, a lot of the check-ins. We really appreciate everybody checking in. This has been one of the most interactive live streams we've done in a long time, and your comments and everybody checking in really makes this thing so much more enjoyable. I know me and Michael really appreciate it and enjoy it. So I think I got everybody's question. I think this is our last question for the evening, and it's a good one. If a medical condition is our concern, Michael, what medical is offered while on board river or ship? And I don't know how well we can answer without knowing more about the condition. And of course, that's pretty personal, what type of needs or concerns. But I know you.
Well, at first, I would tell you to consult with your doctor and let your doctor know that you're considering a cruise, whether it's a river cruise or an ocean cruise, and let them advise you whether or not it's safe for you to travel on that mode of transportation. I will tell you that the river cruise ships do not have medical facilities on board. It's because they're on the river. They literally can be like on the highway. They can literally pull over on the side of the river and an ambulance can come or a medical team can come. So they don't offer medical equipment and that kind of thing on board the ship. The ocean ships do have, an infirmary with limited medical equipment. Again, it would be a situation where I would speak with your doctor and ask them to advise you whether or not you'd be able to travel with that medical condition on either one of those situations. So
great. Well, thank you so much for answering that question here. We really appreciate it. And thank you for, I think this has been one of the most productive live streams we've had in quite a while. We've had some great ones, and I think this is right up there with the top ones. We really appreciate you being on here and sharing all your knowledge. And if anybody's watching this, don't be shy. Please contact Michael Consoli and Associates. You can reach him at 1-800-913-7245. And you can also email him anytime, michael@planmycruise.com, and visit his website at planmycruise.com. Like I said, don't be shy. Reach out, have a conversation, and see if he can help you with your cruising needs with Viking or any other line. I know he'd appreciate your business. And I think, wow, an exciting 2023 is coming, and hopefully we showed you some ways to save some money for their Viking cruise. And of course, we'll have other live streams covering things in more detail. Thank you for Lou Mello and some of the other users from the Facebook group coming in and checking in and saying hello and asking your questions. Like I said, it really makes everything really enjoyable. And any final thoughts, Michael?
Nope. Just if you want to take advantage of the $25 sale, the $25 deposit, now's the time to do it. And we would love to help you find the best way to save money on your Viking cruise. It's definitely not a sales tactic. There are definitely some great opportunities for savings, especially in 2023. So let us know how we can help. And we look forward to hearing from you. And John, I really appreciate the opportunity to do this again. These live streams are some of my favorite things. So I love to answer questions. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, I like this Sunday. This Sunday afternoon worked out really well. So have a good rest of your weekend wherever you are. And Michael, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a great week.